when I was younger, I was fascinated by a lot of different subjects. And when I heard speakers or I heard authors or I heard like a body of knowledge, being disseminated, it interested me. But what most interested me was the lack of synthesis and integration of the different arenas of information. The chemist didn't seem to be interfacing with the biologist enough. The psychologist didn't seem to be relating to the nutritionist enough. And all these different spheres, they seem to be kind of like isolated and fragmented. And growing up, through a number of different scenarios, I was kind of led into a path of healing, curation, and turning a physical wellness experience from a state of 0 to hero. Because most people I know are barely functioning. They're neither alive nor dead. They're somewhere between the middle, and we can call that the zombie. So my mission statement gradually kind of developed over the last 7 or 8 years into something very simple, wanting to showcase how all these different domains of vitality that relate to both physical, subtle, ethereal, mental, emotional, how all of these things are connected, and bring them into a single cosmology or a single map to showcase how vitality is created. Whereby, in the final analysis, any single person in human history can be put at a specific position in that map to showcase what they need to do to bring themselves back to balance. Because some people are very developed. Some people are very developed, for example, they've been doing yoga for a long time, so they're very flexible. And in that department, things are kind of like flowing well. And sometimes they have good circulation. But in other departments, they're very juvenile and they're not very developed. So they need to concentrate on other different arenas, other different subjects. So to simply represent and give people the awareness about the other missing links. Because of the society that we're living, because of the system, because of the infrastructure, we've all become seduced by a very Newtonian, isolationist and fragmented view of reality, which basically minimizes and pushes away most things. So we become oblivious to what actually we need to do to create wellness. Some people are confused. Some people are trying to work out how to create wellness purely from nutritional realm. Some people are truly and purely trying to create wellness from the psychological realm. And there's not enough interfacing. So my vision, my mission statement is to bring the whole cosmology of those different tenets together so that we can once and for all see what all the links in the chain are and how to make them strong.
And if you could just tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and what you do as your work, as per se.
Well, basically, I'm a vitality coach. So the purpose of a vitality coach is to bring to the client's attention all the things they need to do to bring themselves back to balance. Now, I'm using the word vitality coach in a relative sense as well, because I clearly haven't reached a profound objective position to judge all this. And I myself have not simply reached the end of this arbitrary threshold that means I have complete vitality, so thus I should be a master and a teacher of that. But through exploration and my own personal development and my own passionate inquiry into these areas, it's given me a fairly unique vantage point for doing this work. And my main inroad was nutrition. So I was looking at how most people were having the current success they were having in life and acquiring the current physiological condition and bodily condition because they mainly had these mineral deficiencies. I believe there's only two diseases in society. There's mineral deficiencies and auto-intoxication. And I realized that food itself had an incredible potential to heal just that area alone without even looking into any of the other areas. But the more I studied nutrition, the more it led me into the other areas. I mean, I've always been fascinated by the human potential movement and all of its tenets. But I truly believe if you dedicate yourself unwaveringly to one subject, you very quickly come to the bandwidth of that subject. If you're truly dedicated to studying psychology, you very quickly start to connect with how psychology and the building blocks of the mind and the building blocks of neurology are fueled and constructed and very much related by the food you're putting in your body. So psychology will lead you into nutrition. And if you're purely dedicated to studying nutrition, you'll very quickly start to look into the finer, the most refined particle of nutrition, which is light, biophotons. And you start to go into the other realm, which is subtle anatomy, and how light affects the subtle anatomy, and how light feeds the body, and how nutrition feeds the spirit. This type of thing. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep studying, and you build up this ever broadening spectrum. And I think there's a famous saying, the more you know, the more you find out there still is to learn. Because you connect to this other avenue, and it opens up all this kind of like, it skyrockets the potential. And so over the last 5 or 6 years, I've developed a schemata that kind of allows me to connect with a patient, a client, a friend, and to kind of gauge where they are by looking at a few criteria. I listen to their language. I give them a body reading using both neurological, as in nervous system machinery, and quantum machinery. I connect with their lifestyle. We look at the amount of time they're moving in their life, because a lot of people aren't moving very much, and it causes a lot of problems, causes a lot of blockages, it causes constipation, both up here and down here. So looking at the whole plethora of places where we can start to kind of like get some very interesting snippets about who a person is, and then we put them, make a very detailed picture about who that person is. So a vitality coach basically is someone that takes into consideration a very holistic picture of who that person is, based on very tangible, very physical components, and also based upon less tangible things, but equally as self-evident as having an effect on that person's vitality, like, for example, language. Which at the moment I'm kind of developing and researching a lot more, specifically about how the language and the words we use affect our nervous system. Because when we speak, we can only do two things. And this is true of the whole human package. Whatever we do in life, we can only do two things. In the next moment, in the final analysis, we can enliven our reality, improve it, evolve it, or we can weaken it, impoverish it, and degrade it. We only have two choices, because there's no such thing as a neutral in reality. So another way of describing the vitality coach or the vitality movement is that agent is basically encouraging, more times than not, that person to make an enlivening choice, an enlivening movement in the next second of their life.